Hi, I'm Brian,
And I'm Michaela, and this is Drink the Movies.
a podcast where each week we try to recreate a classic movie drink and discuss the movie that inspired it.
Thanks for joining us. Now let's drink the movies.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 151 of Drink the Movies. I'm Brian here, as always, with Michaela. And Michaela, if you go back to like our childhoods, at least for me, it seems like I always remember there being this movie in my life, which is weird because the movie itself came out in 1971, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, based off of that Roald Dahl book. But I feel like that movie has always been a part of like the collective conscious of people. It was on TV a lot, grew up with it. What about
Yes,
you? Did you grow up with Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka?
I did. I sure did. And I actually remember sitting down. I was in kindergarten. So I was 5 years old. So this was 1986. And I remember sitting down in what was the cafeteria of Highland Elementary in Billings, Montana. And I remember them rolling out that big TV, that was on like a cart. It's like a tea trolley, right? Except
Hmm, hmm.
it held a TV. It was a TV trolley. And they
Yes.
turned on this movie. And I remember the opening sequence of watching all of the chocolate and the candy being made
Hmm,
and like
hmm.
the ribbon of chocolate, which now every time we make eggnog, I think about the ribbon of eggnog chocolate, right? Um, that opening scene, I will never forget it. I was 5 years old and I was like, this is the most amazing opening to a movie I've ever seen. Cause it was just like chocolate buttons and chocolate ribbons and chocolate fudge and like chocolate covered wafers. And it was how they made all this stuff and with the music in the background. And ever since then, I have loved Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So yes, it was a big part of my childhood. I love all the things, um, learning about like all the kind of the stories of each of the kids that get the golden ticket and how much how wonderful it would be to get a golden ticket and all of that. So in short, the answer is yes.
Excellent.
I did not enjoy the remake nearly as much as the original. I don't know what your take is on that.
Mm. Yeah, well, that's going to be a topic for another day, for sure. There on that one, because today we're not talking about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, that Tim Burton film. Today we are talking about Wonka, the newly released Timothy Chalamet kind of origin story for Mr. Willy Wonka. There, we went out and saw it last night. I think we both enjoyed it and pretty excited to talk about it. And pretty excited to have the cocktail that we got going for it this week. It is a chocolatey treat for sure that would make, I think it would make Willy Wonka proud. Willy and Noodle, they'd be big fans of this one. So why don't we do this, Michaela? Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back to whip up this week's cocktail.
Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
So, Brian, I feel like, people call us the mixologists. I don't really think that that's a good term. It seems really
Mm,
fancy for what we do. We just like to drink, and um, but maybe we're kind of like a mix between a mixologist and a confectioner, right? Because
yes.
confectioners create candy. They create these amazing experiences that last forever, right? Like if you think about your favorite chocolate or your favorite chocolate bar or your favorite, it's Christmas time here, so your favorite Christmas candy. Um,
Hmm,
those
hmm.
things are gifts that keep on giving. They're more than just the morsel in your mouth. They're kind of this create this whole like nostalgic experience, right? Every time you have them, and I feel like we got this one right on the money when we talk about nostalgia and being more than just the sipful of liqueur, right?
That's yeah, absolutely. It kind of embodied all of the things, and one of the things that was really neat about the film itself last night. Obviously we kind of picked this cocktail, blind going in. We hadn't seen Wonka yet at that time, but we knew some things about Willy Wonka and knew that like kind of all of these different elaborate flavors, but still kind of at the heart of it was this delicious, delicious chocolate goodness. And that is what we found in this week's cocktail. So it comes from a website called thebaldhiker.com, which sounds pretty fun to go and check that out. There's some good recipes and kind of this blog kind of thing. So definitely go check that one out. And the cocktail itself is called the Chocolate Waterfall, which is perfect because in the original movie there, the Gene Wilder, there is literally like a chocolate waterfall kind of there. It's creating that river of chocolate that's going through there. We get some shades of that here in this film as well as kind of a big chocolate fountain at the end. So I think a chocolate waterfall is a fitting cocktail to make. And you're going to need some pretty fancy ingredients to put this together. No giraffe milk, but you are going to need some heavy whipping cream. So, Michaela, how do we put this together?
All right. You're going to take an ounce of your favorite chocolate liqueur. This recipe, I think, called for Godiva. They don't make that anymore. But I found something that I enjoy even better.
Mm.
It is, oh
Yeah,
my
it's
gosh,
it's Mozart's chocolate liqueur.
Mozart.
So 1 ounce of your favorite chocolate liqueur, and your favorite chocolate liqueur should be Mozart chocolate liqueur.
Yes, that's right. Because it is, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's thick, it's creamy, it's rich. So you're going to take an ounce of that. You're going to take 3/4 of an ounce of Hearing cherry liqueur. It's really easy to find in any liquor store. You should be able to find it. Half an ounce of your favorite coffee liqueur. So I have a couple of different ones that I've been using that are local to North Carolina, but Kahlua works too if you really need it to.
Mhm.
And then 2 ounces of heavy whipping cream. This is not a low calorie drink, just so we're clear, but
It is not.
it's chocolate. It's a chocolate waterfall. So you're gonna put all of these into a shaker tin with some ice. You're gonna shake it, strain it, put it in a coupe glass or a martini glass. You can do this up a couple of different ways if you want to like decorate the chocolate, the glass with some chocolate drizzle. You can do that. I did not because I just wanted to get it in my stomach because it smelled amazing. So
Yes.
I shook it, I strained it, I put it in the glass, and then I drank it. It's so good. I have to
It
say, it's
it
real good.
is it is very good. It tastes very much like a chocolate milkshake that is melted there in your glass. It's very delicious. It's very rich, the heavy whipping cream. If you wanted to lighten it up a bit, I don't think there would be any issue with doing like a half and half or probably even like a whole milk. That would still be good. It would change the body of the cocktail a little bit, but if you wanted something a little bit thinner, not quite so luscious, you can go that way. The cherry liqueur, I have to admit, is not my favorite combination. Like chocolate covered cherries, that's not really my jam too much, but there's just a little bit of a hint of it in here. You don't get a lot of that cherry note, so I was okay with that. And definitely the coffee is an excellent addition. Yeah, so use whatever kind of coffee liqueur you want, or just go with some Mozart chocolate liqueur and some heavy cream. Just make yourself up chocolate milk and go to town that way. But yeah, this was really good, and I felt like it really kind of captured the essence of what the film was trying to convey last night, right? Is that chocolate is this luxury thing, but it also should be accessible and available to everyone. And making up a cocktail like this that's easy and delicious, I think really kind of hits the nail on the head for Wonka that we're covering this week.
Absolutely. I think the only thing that I would do differently is add, if you really wanted to Wonka this up just to a little bit more, I would add a couple of drops of purple food coloring in it to give it a purple hue.
Mm, hmm
It's
hmm
harder to do, I think, with the cream-based liqueur kind of cocktails to make it so a luster dust probably wouldn't work as well as we'd like it to. But if you want it to be a nice purple, you just add, I don't know, 2 or 3 drops, and that'll definitely turn it into a purple concoction, which you kind of need with a Wonka thing. But we were definitely function over form in this case because we just wanted to get the chocolate, and I think this really does hit on all the notes of something that's more than just like a regular chocolate like martini. This is really, I love the layers of the flavors. It's a little on the sweet side because of the cherry. So if that's going to bother you, you can either omit the cherry completely and just add more chocolate liqueur like Brian wants to do, or you can cut it in half and do like 1/4 of an ounce and it'll keep that sweetness, but it won't be so overbearing.
Exactly. So mix one of these up. Let us know what you think about it and protect it in case any little orange men with green hair come to steal it in the night. So let's do this, Michaela. Let's go ahead and mix up another 1 or 2 of these and take a quick break. And then we'll be right back to chat about this week's film, Wonka.
and gentlemen, greetings to you all. My name is Willy Wonka. You see, I'm something of a magician. Prepare to be amazed.
Spoiler warning for Wonka. If you've not yet seen the film that just came out a week ago called Wonka, directed by Paul King, you should pause. You should go watch that film. You should make yourself up a chocolate waterfall, and then you should come back and you can hear us chat all about it.
That's right, absolutely. So you might not have had a chance to see that yet, and we are going to talk about the movie and get into some spoilers for it, but we're probably not going to go super in depth on this. We just saw this ourselves last night. So yeah, just released here in 2023. It was directed by Paul King, who you might know most notably has directed the some of the most beloved films of them all, the Paddington and Paddington 2 films. And this one stars Timothy Chalamet as a young Willy Wonka. Calla Lame plays Noodle, who's a street orphan that's going to help Willy get his start. And then there's like a bunch of other people that we're going to talk about here as we kind of get through the story beats a little bit. Now, Michaela, at the top, we talked a little bit about, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, based off of this book, but this is more of an origin story. And we get started off with Willy Wonka coming off of some sort of like steamer ship. I think he's like the cook on the ship, singing a song. So hold on, folks. This is going to be a musical, and Willy Wonka is out to make his fortune. And I really love this first song, right? Because he gets like his pay for working on the ship, and he starts with like 12 of the I don't know what I forget what they're called, sovereigns. He gets like 12 sovereigns, and then all these people are coming and like getting his sovereigns throughout the day. So by the end of like I don't know, the first day on shore, he's out of sovereigns. But what do you think about this opening section here, being introduced to our young Willy Wonka?
Well, first, I have to say, I didn't realize this would be a musical. I don't know why I didn't realize it would be a musical. I'm so glad that it is. Timothy Chalamet's voice is actually amazing. He sounds great. The music is fantastic.
Yeah. So apparently, Paul King had seen Timothy Chalamet's like high school like musical, so he knew that he could sing and dance, and that was how he originally like came up with the idea of casting him. Apparently, it was down to like him and the Spider-Man guy, Tom Holland. But yeah, Timothy Chalamet was first in line, and it all came from this high school musical movie. Maybe we should send out our own high school musical movies.
There we go.
We could be
somebody.
Something. I don't know.
You would be amazing, Brian, because you actually can sing. I'm just super loud. They'd be like, "All right, in the background, we need somebody screaming." That would work. But I was really impressed with the art direction and this first kind of sweeping few minutes where Willy Wonka's getting off the ship, and like you said, he's learning about this new town. We don't really know where this is. It's definitely in Europe somewhere. You think it might be France, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah,
they call them sovereigns, and there's a chocolatier kind of galerie gourmet, which sounds very French.
Yeah, I was trying to look it up to see. I feel like they had said something that it was in Paris, but I'm not 100% sure because the story and I guess like even Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory were meant to be set in England, but they were filmed in Munich, so that first film looks very very German
Yes.
looking.
Very
But yeah,
much.
I think this was meant to be France, but I'm not really sure, and we can and we'll get into some of my thoughts on a little bit of the disconnect a little bit later here. So.
Yeah, but I love this opening scene because he's so excited and he's living out his dream, right? And we find out more about, who Willy Wonka was and his mom and him. It was just them two. They didn't have a lot of money growing up. And she would save money all year long to make him one chocolate bar for his birthday. And she would always talk about a secret that she put into her chocolates and how amazing it was. And so he has like the last bar that he gave her or that she gave him, and he has it with him all the time. And she had promised him that no matter what would happen, she would be there when he became a world famous chocolatier and had his own shop at this Galerie Gourmet, which is this famous place. And it's really beautiful. The art direction is gorgeous. This gallery area, it looks like this magical kind of these corners, these four corners where you have these this one room for rent at one corner, and then the other three corners are all the other chocolatiers, which we learn about what are their names? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like
It's
Snell Grove and
it's like this mall, and all the chocolatiers are like on these three of the four corners, and yeah, Willie is there showboating, and we get introduced to the other candy makers there. The most notable one, of course, is Arthur Slugworth. We know that
Slugworth.
name.
That's it.
Who's played by Patterson Joseph, probably my favorite of the three. And then we've also got to Gerald Prodnose, played by Matt Lucas, and Matthew Bainton is playing Felix Fickelgruber. So yeah, so you have these three kind of competing chocolatiers here on this corner, but as it turns out, as we're going to learn throughout the film, they're not really competing as much as they are monopolizing on the candy cravings of this town.
Right. I love the first example we get of Willy Wonka's confectionery, where he has these hover chocks. They look like these little, I don't know, they look like nuts, but they open, and then you're kind of scared because you think that maybe you're going to be eating like a butterfly of some kind, but they fly, and you grab them and they make people fly, and it's actually really beautiful. I love this scene, and Wonka makes some money, but then of course the chief of police gets there, and the chief of police is working in cahoots with these three other kind of the chocolate mafia, as I'm going to call them. And
That's right.
he confiscates his earnings, and he says, oh, you can't sell chocolate at this corner. You're going to screw this whole thing up. And we find out that the chief of police loves chocolate more than anything. And so
Yes.
this trifecta of mafia chocolatiers are like, no, dude, we're going to give you, I don't know, 150 chocolates a day to do whatever it is we want. And so I love the chief of police. He is played by the amazing Keegan-Michael Kay.
Hmm.
He is awesome. And every time we see him, he is fatter and fatter and fatter. Like by the end of the film, he can't get out of a vehicle. It's sad and amazing at the same time. Like he's normal sized at the beginning, and then at the end, he looks like he's a Clark bar. It's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. I really like kind of that section when we learn how this like mafia of chocolate's working, and yeah, you get the chief of police there, and he goes into like the church and downstairs, and they're offering to pay him off in chocolates, and they bring out like 10 boxes of chocolates, and he's like, I can't do it, and they bring out like 100 boxes of chocolates, and then they end up giving him like 1,500 or like 1,500 boxes of chocolates or something. That's pretty great. But yeah, poor Willie is left without any of his money from the day, so he has to go. He's going to try to sleep on a bench there, and we're introduced to kind of the next couple of characters here. We've got Tom Davis playing Bleacher, who's going to come and I guess get Willie to go to this boarding house where they can basically get you to sign your life and rights away there. Tom Davis as Bleacher is excellent. I love him, kind of this ruffian character. And then who doesn't love Mrs. Scrubbit there, who's the one running the inn? She brings you a nice cold glass of gin to help you warm you up on this cold night. Unfortunately, that gin is going to cost you a lot. And Mrs. Scrubbit is played by none other than Olivia Colman.
Yeah. Oh, she's a gem. I mean, I do have to say, I think the acting chops in this film are amazing. It's just all of these people come together to create this really beautiful tapestry of talent, and I loved watching it. I thought it was obvious Olivia Colman was having such a great time as Mrs. Scrubbit. She's horribly evil, right? And she gets Willy Wonka to sign this, and it tips him off, actually. Spoiler warning for later. She's like, hey, there's this contract. It's super easy. It's a sovereign a night, no big deal. And he starts to sign, and we're introduced to Noodle. And Noodle's this little girl who's kind of a slave, not even kind of, she's totally like a slave that works for the Scrubbit lady. And she's like, read the fine print, which is interesting because that is totally a mechanism that Willy Wonka uses later when he meets Charlie and the other folks when we talk about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And so he does not listen to Noodle, and he signs his life away.
Read the small print.
Oh, what'd you say?
Who's that in?
The girl.
What girl?
That girl. It sounded like read the small print, and there does seem to be a lot of it. Oh.
Come to find out, when he is the next day, he's not able to pay for his sovereign. They're like, nope, that's not going to
work.
Like
$10,000 for his one night. He gets charged for using the stairs to his room.
Right. It's crazy. And so now they're like, oh yeah, you got to be down in the laundry with the rest of this team of people who've fallen, to the same they've done the same thing, and it's this total racket, but they are down in the dungeons doing laundry for like 27 years or something crazy. It's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. It is a lot. And yeah, Willie is not able to read the fine print. I really like kind of the design of a lot of this stuff, the chocolate design, which we'll talk about here as well. But I like kind of this contract is amazing because he just keeps pulling it of this book, and then there's like this little string that Miss Scrubbit is like pulling it back closed. That's amazing. And yeah, poor Willie is on the hook now for like 10,000 of these little coins. I keep forgetting what they're called. So he's gonna have to go
Sovereigns.
and he's going to have to go and work in the laundry room, right? And we meet a couple of more people that are there. We've got Abacus Crunch, Piper Benz, Larry Chucklesworth, who is this terrible comedian, and Lottie Bell, I think, are the other four members here down working in this laundry room, and they've all fell victim to the same scam, right? They stayed in this
Right.
boarding house for a night and ended up going into deep debt. So Willie's there. He doesn't see any sort of light out of this place, but he's going to do his best. And luckily, Noodle is along for the ride. She is here to help. I love kind of this first night, and they're talking about what Willie wants to do. He's talking about how he wants to make chocolate and bring chocolate to the world, and he opens up like this little like mini chocolate factory, which is amazing. It's an amazing movie prop. It's so cool. It's like this little like briefcase that he opens up, and it
Yeah.
folds out into this big like a chocolate, like I said, like chocolate factory. But then it does this really neat kind of flashback sort of scene where he goes back to he's talking about his mother, and it's like this flip book kind of thing, and it's showing her making chocolate for him originally, how he fell in love with chocolate. And I thought that this section was really beautiful, and like I said, the prop design of that case was incredible. I loved it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think this film did a really it was going to be a tough ask, I think, for it to capture the magic of the first one. We can talk about whether or not, Tim Burton did the same, right? We definitely felt like the pressure was on. And I think in that sense, with the attention to detail, with all the bits of either the chocolate or the art direction, it really helped create this magical world. I love some of the inspired kind of concoctions that they are creating. I mean, Willy Wonka has like lightning in a bottle. He's got these cacao butt nibs that he'd gotten from Africa. He'd gotten these this like bottle that's also got like lightning and thunder. It's super cool, and the way that they visually show those things, and he just adds a drop to these things, and his little suitcase creates these concoctions. Noodles never had chocolate before, so when she tastes it, she's like, "Why did you do this to me? Now you've ruined my life because I'll never have chocolate every day again." It's really really special. And what I really love as well is kind of the way the plot kind of finishes out, where everybody kind of comes together to help Willy Wonka get that room and go ahead and rent that space, and have this opening day where he's got all of these different kinds of chocolates. And one of the people that we meet along the way is Lofty, which is Hugh Grant, and he is an Oompa Loompa that becomes Wonka's ally. At the beginning, he's this little thief, and we don't like him at
He
first.
is.
We're
Yeah,
like, why are you stealing his chocolates?
They call me Lofty.
he is. He's the little thief. Yeah, I like Wonka just pulls out this empty jar, and he's like, "Oh, they were stolen again by the little orange man with green hair." And then of course Noodle's like, what are you talking about? You fell asleep and you ate all of those." And Willie's just like, "Yeah, that does make more sense, doesn't it?" I really liked that kind of sentiment. But yeah, we are introduced to Lofty, the Oompa Loompa there, and we get a little bit of a history on the Oompa Loompas, right? They have a little island there called Loompa Land, and Lofty was apparently in charge of guarding the tree where the cocoa pods were, but fell asleep on the job, and Willie was able to go in and steal three, no four of those pods. And Lofty was then on a mission. If you steal from an Oompa Loompa, you have to pay them back 1,000 fold. So that's a lot of chocolate. Willie is in debt to this little guy. And yeah, he seems like an adversary at the beginning, but it's going to come full circle, obviously. We know the Oompa Loompas are going to be a big part of Willy Wonka's story going forward. But I thought that Hugh Grant was excellent as the Oompa Loompa. I thought that he was really fun. I
Yep.
liked his kind of his drier, comedic elements and timing. He's still very Hugh Grant, like Hugh Grant is always very Hugh Grant like, but I thought that it fit kind of the persona of this Oompa Loompa pretty well. Uh, Now, I guess Willy Wonka, he's getting out. He's doing his best to sell some chocolate. The chief of police is still, hounding him, causing him trouble, but he's going to rig up a Willy Wonka-esque device there in the laundry shop to help turn the tide a little bit, right? He's going to get the dog. The dog's going to chase down on some conveyor belt. It's going to do all the clothes washing for him, and that's going to let the rest of the people that are indebted here at this halfway house kind of thing to go out and help Willy Wonka on his mission, right? And they all have kind of these special skills. We have like an accountant, we have the comedian guy, we have telephone operators. So all of these people can help Willy Wonka do the things he needs to do to start selling his chocolate and get his shop opened.
That's right. And what a shop it is when it does get open. I love the hijinks here, right? I love the tapestry with which they create kind of the machine that does the laundry for them. I love how they all kind of come together and do their pieces to put together this amazing shop. This shop looks great. There's a giant chocolate tree in the middle that he can sit on. I love that everywhere we turn, there is somebody eating buttercups, just like in the original Willy Wonka. They look way more delicious than the wax one that Gene Wilder probably ate, and that probably didn't taste as good. These look delicious, but they're everywhere. There are all these different really cool just kind of vignettes of chocolatey goodness in this dream chocolate store that Wonka has put together, and everybody's having a great time. There's the musical score is amazing. I love this part, and it's really tough watching it kind of come to a halt, because what has happened is Mrs. Scrubbit has infused his chocolates with Yeti sweat, and unfortunately that is not great.
I mean, it sounds bad on its own.
Yeti sweat? The most powerful hair potion in the world.
But yeah, it's not great because it makes you grow hair real fast, and the hair is all
weird colored hair. You look like a troll.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the bad news. Veruca Salt had it light if you're gonna grow all this hair for sure. Yeah, the set design here of this kind of first shop for Willy Wonka is amazing. I love that it even has like the little chocolate river. It's got like a rainbow bridge kind of thing going over top of it there. It looks really really great. But yeah, it's not all great because all of the customers all get sick, and that's not good if you're in the food industry. Poisoning all of your customers is not a good look, I do have to say. But there is a plan though now, right? Our accountant friend, what's his name? Abacus Crunch, played by Jim Carter, who I most notably know from Downton Abbey. That's where I always think of him coming from. He's really good in this film, but he knows because he'd done some accounting for Slugworth and Co. That there's like the quote unquote official ledger, and then there's the really official ledger. So maybe if we can find this official ledger, we can figure out what's been going on, get to the bottom of this, and clear Willy Wonka's name and get things sorted. So you're gonna have to infiltrate, the kind of the headquarters. And he lays it out for him, right? It's like he's like, listen, you go into this church. Then there is this priest at the church. The priest is amazing. It's played by Rowan Atkinson playing Father Julius here. You go in to the confession booth, you slide him a chocolate, and he's going to send you down this elevator where there's like an armed guard that has never seen like the daylight or something. And then there's like 300 chocolate loving monks that you have to walk by, and then you can get into the offices. It's incredible. It's amazing. The set design of it is so much fun and awesome.
Yeah.
But they're going to get in there. But you have to get a distraction, Michaela. And what better distraction is there than a giraffe?
That's right. And we mentioned it before. One of the secrets to Willy Wonka's confectionery at the beginning of this is he really likes giraffe milk. He says it adds, I don't know, a nutty creaminess or something is what he says, right, to the chocolate. I'm going to take your word there for it there, Willy. That sounds weird to me. But anyway, we meet Abigail, who is the giraffe, and really sweet, really, like, she doesn't talk, but her facial expressions are great. I think the CGI is amazing.
So when we first meet Abigail, I just wanted to mention this because they kind of go to get this milk from the giraffe earlier in the film, and they're walking like into this zoo, and it's absolutely stunning the way the zoo looks. I don't know if it was an actual zoo somewhere in England that they were walking through, if this was all done on a soundstage or composite positive, but it looks really, really great. And there's a really neat sentiment that's get said because there's a couple times where these flamingos keep popping back up in the film because they're all standing there, and Noodle says, "Why don't they just fly away?" And Willie says, "Maybe they don't know that they can," which I think is a really beautiful sentiment. It's really, really great. The zoo looks amazing, and then Abigail, the giraffe. I think when they first meet her, I think it is an actual giraffe, and then I think it kind of goes back and forth between the actual giraffe and a CG giraffe. Looks great. Looks really good.
Yeah, no, it totally does. And she's she's so happy to help. And they tell her what to do. Like they're like, hey, watch your head, because they've got this giant this giant truck that's like really tall. And they're like, watch your head, Abigail. And she puts her head down so she doesn't hit the bridge and things like that. And but they get her down there, and somebody calls for help, and they're like, hey, there's a giraffe. And the priest at first, he also has to deliver an homily or a sermon around a funeral. Somebody really important has died up on the regular floor of this church. And so he's like, guys, I have to speak to this person, and this wife is there, and all the procession is going to be happening, and he's kind of in this spot, but it adds the dynamic for them to go and look for this book, and they almost don't find it, but it was hidden in a wall. Someone throws a shoe in frustration, and it ends up opening up this trap door, and there it is for all the world to see, all of the things that Slugworth and his cronies have done.
That's right. Yeah, it's all bad news for Slugworth and cronies. They do have one more trick up their sleeves, right? They kind of pool their resources. I guess it turns out they've been hoarding all of the really good chocolate and sending out subpar chocolates into the world. So they are going to trap poor Willy and Noodle there in the room and try to drown them in chocolate. But luckily, our Oompa Loompa friend, our orange green-haired friend, is going to come back and save them, because he realizes he can take all this chocolate. The debt has been paid in full, so that's pretty good there. We also learn there's a little bit of a side story there with Noodle. We get to find out that her actual mother had given her up to her, I guess, uncle, right? Slugworth. There is how she got that. That was kind of a side story. It didn't really pertains to the story of Willy Wonka too much, I didn't think, but that's kind of fun. She gets reunited with her mother there at the end, and then basically all's well that ends well, right? All the debts have been paid, and everything is good to go for Willy Wonka to get his chocolate factory set up now that he has the tools and the friendships and the money required to do so.
The money required, and he doesn't need, I think one of the things that was really great is Willy Wonka his heart was set on that spot in the kind of that chocolatier corner area. And at the end of the day, Lofty helps him find this abandoned castle, which is so much better,
Yeah.
so much cooler, well, a lot more space. And it talks about there's this sign at the rental space that's the really small that says, daydreaming is forbidden here, and the rent sign, or for the abandoned castle sign, says daydream all you want, or something like that. And I really like that.
Yeah.
Willy Wonka realizes that he doesn't have to live the dream that he had thought of as a kid. This is a bigger dream. It's okay that it's changed. I really love the idea that he wanted to do this to have a moment with his mom. She had told him that she would be there when he finally made it as a chocolatier. And he never understood, or she had never told him the secret of her chocolate. And I really love at the end, he opens her chocolate bar, the last one that she ever made. And the secret is not that what's in the chocolate, but who you share it with, which I think is really lovely.
And it's on a golden ticket.
And it's on a golden ticket, which probably is telling. I just love that part of it, because you feel at the end, when you have this sweeping kind of panorama of all the things that he does and all the plans that he has for this castle, that we later see in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. We see all of that kind of come to life in his head. And of course, it's got the sweeping kind of a newer version of Pure Imagination. I mean, it's probably no surprise I'm bawling my little eyes out. I'm like, this is the best movie ever.
Can confirm.
It's so good.
Can confirm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, pure imagination is pretty magical. When he starts to sing it there, he's kind of walking Noodle through the streets, and it's doing like this overlay thing of this like drawing that had happened earlier in the movie. It's really pretty. There's a bunch of really good kind of musical cues. Like there's nothing like ever like specifically like down to like the music from kind of that first film, but there are a bunch of like musical cues that remind you and kind of ground you in that, and those are just kind of fun for people that are familiar that do love that movie. I don't think for younger kids and stuff who might be watching this for the first time, they don't really have any sort of impact there. But yeah, the version of Pure Imagination is really great. Their way to end the film, and yeah, you get a little bit of a post-credit scene there with Lofty coming in to show you basically what happened to everyone else, and everyone had really nice kind of reunion with the world now that they're out from underneath of Mrs. Scrubbits. And of course, we know what Willy Wonka is going to get up to going into the future. So that's Wonka. Didn't get into like super specifics on it because I would really like people to get out and see it and let us know what you think about it and what you think about kind of that first film or even the Tim Burton one. But Michaela, just talking about the movie as a whole, were there any things that you liked or didn't like or the way it looked or sounded? Just kind of some general thoughts on the film, I guess.
No, I don't think I have much in the way of criticism. There were a couple things that I didn't think worked as well as it could have. I think you touched on it a little bit, the kind of the Noodle side story arc, I think was really a good lever. I don't know if it was executed as well as I would have wanted it to be. It definitely tugged at the heartstrings at the end. I would have
Yep.
liked for it at the beginning of the story arc to have laid a little bit more groundwork, because you definitely care about the fact that she's there by herself, but it doesn't quite make sense that the mom would have left her.
Yeah.
And they kind of gloss over that a little bit. And the visualizations are really beautiful because you see this streaming. She goes to Slugworth and she's hands over her kid, and then he kind of throws a bunch of coins at her, and she falls to the ground.
Yeah.
I don't really remember what was being said, but I remember that visualization. I think that they could have closed the loop a little bit better on that. But I think that overall this was really solid. It's a great prequel to the story of Willy Wonka. I think it really did a great job of paying homage to the 1971 film as a companion piece. I think that it's definitely worth people's time. It's really well executed as a film
Mhm.
and as a standalone film as well, right? If you've never seen the original Willy Wonka, you're going to still enjoy this for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. If you do look at it as a standalone film, I think that it's excellent. I really enjoyed the film. Um, Now I don't know, like if I'm trying to like bridge the gap between this film and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the Gene Wilder film that this is, set before. I don't know. There's a huge disconnect, I guess, still of this Willy Wonka, Timothy Chalamet's Willy Wonka, who is very an optimist and very much have love in his heart. Even has a line where he's trusting in the kindness of strangers is how he gets around and lives his life, and that stuff is all beautiful. But by the time we get to the 1971 film, uh, Willy Wonka is like this recluse figure who is definitely not this, definitely not the Willy Wonka that's portrayed here. So maybe that is to set up some sort of kind of middle chapter of this to bridge that gap a little bit. So I had a little bit of a disconnect there between the two films. But
Mhm.
that aside, I think that this film is excellent. It looks gorgeous. I liked the musical aspect of it because we don't often think about it, but that's the 1971 film is by all instances musical as well. There are several musical numbers in that one too. So I liked that. The acting was all excellent in this. I loved kind of the banter between the chocolate heads, right? Slugworth and Prodnose and Fickelgruber. That was really good and really well executed. And yeah, just all around a really good time. in terms of a movie to watch and just a really fun and interesting story, I thought. So definitely worth your time to go and check it out. And a lot of people might be putting this off. Maybe this is like the Christmas day or like the Christmas week watch. You're getting together with the family and going to all go out and see Wonka. So definitely go do that because it's a fun time.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I think my son loved it. It was heartwarming enough. I think it really has a good balance of things that are entertaining for younger audiences as well as adults. Because some of the content is fairly adult, but Roald Dahl is famous for taking these really awful situations and adding them through the lens of a childlike perspective and making it either more horrible or less horrible, depending on what the effect wants to be. And I think that is something that this film translates really well as well. So definitely worth your time. Totally recommend. I out of a 10, I think I'd give this like a solid 8.
Yeah,
8.5,
very
maybe.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I gave this a 4 stars on my Letterboxd. Follow us on Letterboxd, I guess, if you want to. Yeah, so definitely go check this one out. It was a fun one. It was something I was kind of semi looking forward to, and very happy that we decided to watch it together and cover it for the podcast. So let us know out there what you think about Wonka, or let us know if you've read the book Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, if Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is your jam, or even if you like that weird Tim Burton one. Let us know what you think about all that stuff, and let us know if you make yourself a chocolate waterfall to have while you're watching it. You can do that. You can send us pictures. You can give us feedback, all that stuff on our social medias. That's at To Drink the Movies on Instagram and X and Threads and Blue Sky and Facebook.com/drinkthemovies. You can go to our website, www.drinkthemovies.com. That's where you're going to see pictures of our cocktails, episode recaps, recipes, all that good stuff is there. And you can get the link to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/drinkthemovies. That is where we post a lot of our bonus content, extra cocktail chats, bonus episodes, all that stuff. And we appreciate our patrons very, very much. Michaela, next week we have coming, we're at the end of the year. It's 2024 next week. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take a step back, reflect on the year that was 2023. So expect that coming next week. And you want to make sure that you get subscribed to the podcast so you know when that comes out. Michaela, where can they do that?
You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Good Pods. You can find us anywhere where Spotify podcasts are supported and distributed. Whatever you're listening to right now, there is a subscribe button. You can press it. I believe in you. I know you can do it. If you're liking what you're hearing, please do subscribe. We do 2 drops a week and they're a lot of fun. And if you're really loving what you're hearing, you can tell your friends. You can do that a couple of ways. You can share all of our stuff on social media. We're all over that thing. We have the ability. You have the ability to leave a 5-star review. You have the ability to just tell a friend. We have lots and lots of ways for you to spread the Drink the Movies love, Drink the Music love. It really helps us get all this good Drink the Movies music cocktail goodness out there.
That's right, absolutely. And speaking of good stuff coming out, we had just this past Sunday, we released our Drink the Movies, Drink the Music special edition Christmas Eve episode. So go back and listen to that. The link for the playlist for that is in the bios. So definitely go check that out. That was a lot of fun to put together. And it was our first time trying to incorporate like the actual music into. So if you're listening on Spotify, do us a favor, go check that out and let us know how that turned out for everyone. So definitely appreciate it. Hopefully you have a safe and happy new year, and we'll talk to you in 2024. So thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time on Drink the Michaela's muted, so Drink the Movies is what we're going to get you.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again
from the top. Next time on
Drink the Movies. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination.
Should have left you on mute. Oh, just kidding.
Oh, stop it.
That was beautiful. It was you're like you're a chocolate waterfalls. It was like Michaela's tear waterfall when he started singing that last night.
Oh my
Lord.
God. It was I needed to breathe. I couldn't breathe. I was crying so hard.
Damn you, Timothy Chalamet.
You beautiful, beautiful actor.